Welcome in Line by Line. Today, with our special guest, Manuel and Ezra, we are analyzing a viral sensation by Kate Bush called Running Up That Hill. Ezra, why did you pick that song?
I had never heard this song until it became a sensation. I think it's like #1 in many countries, or was. And I just really like it.
Running up that hill. It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know that it doesn't hurt me? Do you want to hear about the deal that I'm making? You. It's you and me. And if I only could, I'd make a deal with God, and I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. See, if I only could.
You don't want to hurt me, but see how deep the bullet lies. Unaware I'm tearing you asunder. Oh, there is thunder in our hearts. Is there so much hate for the ones we love? Oh, tell me we both matter, don't we? You, it's you and me. It's you and me, won't be unhappy. And if I only could, I'd make a deal with God and I'd get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. Say if I only could. Oh, you, it's you and me. It's you and me, you won't be unhappy. Come on, baby, come on, darling. Let me steal this moment from you now. Come on, angel, come on, darling. Let's exchange the experience. Oh, if I only could, I'd make a deal with God and I'd get him to swap our places and be running up that road, be running up that hill with no problems. If I only could, I'd be running up that hill.
Okay, yeah, I think from there on, everything repeats. Oh my God, that song. I kind of imagine, like, if you ever to get together to some karaoke place, might be virtual karaoke place in Zoom, and like we would take the microphones.
You're all invited, by the way.
Yeah, like, let's organize it. Like, if it's possible, if Zoom will allow us to make a karaoke thingy, and then we all should do it. Running up that road. That would be awesome.
And someone has to perform the dance from the clip as well.
Totally.
Yes,
totally. Like, yeah, there will be like all
great.
that.
We have a new ballet dancer joining us, so that might actually be. I guess I have a lot of training to do.
Sorry, I just imagined it. Okay, Mano, would you do us the honor and read the first stanza from the Google?
From the Googles.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't hurt me. Do you want to know? Do you want to feel how it feels? Do you want to know? Know that it doesn't hurt me? Do you want to hear about the deal I'm making? You, it's you and me. Yeah. Ezra, I'm gonna invite you to do the opening shot, because what doesn't hurt?
All right. So I take it like they have conflict, they're fighting. And I kind of take the whole song as being about their conflicts. And she's saying, the way it comes in with like that, it doesn't hurt me. Do you want to feel how it feels? That makes me think of somebody who's like she's trying to say how much it hurts her. It's like, Oh, really? You don't think it hurts? Like, step inside my body and feel how it feels, because it fucking hurts, okay? And then do you want to know that it doesn't hurt me? The only way you could know is for her to do this deal that she's foreshadowing with God. That's what I'm thinking.
So I'm also struggling with this like real bad. That's why I punted it. But the way I see it now is she's actually trying to convince him to do something. And she's saying, look at me, this is my experience. It's okay for me. And I want you to feel how it's okay for me so that you can do it.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see that too, for sure. And I wonder if it's even purposeful, that like it's ambiguous. Is she her or not? What do you think, Nodrik?
I
Oh,
think
yeah.
she just wants him inside her body. And she's like, let me make a deal with God so you can permanently stay in my body, or even for a short time, but you can feel everything. And she actually also wants to be inside his body, but that's a spoiler alert for the next part. Yeah, well, in all seriousness, I think she wants him to understand her, because he obviously doesn't. And she thinks if he would understand her, he would treat her better somehow. So that's the thing. Like she projects compassion onto the guy. And then she's threatening the higher power, and she's like, I know the guy who's important to you, so I'm making a deal with that guy.
Oh, wow. So what you made me think about is actual sex, right? It's describing actual sex. You want to know how it feels? You want to know it doesn't hurt me, right? Like, so she's inviting him to be more intense in the sex.
Or just more intuitive, like, hey, like, think about how this might feel to me before you do it,
Yeah. Well, there's definitely an
tickles.
invitation for empathy, right? Yeah, that. And I think the song is also about the struggle of not having that capacity, right, to take the other one's place, to have a conception of what they're feeling.
Okay. And if I only could, I would make a deal with God, and I would get him to swap our places. Be running up that road, be running up that hill, be running up that building. Say, if I only could. Oh. So, what do you guys project on that one?
I think it's interesting that she's making a deal with God. So typically we think of a deal with the devil, that the devil's like the bargainer. But she's by trying to make a deal with God, I think it suggests that it's that she believes that this would be like a more pure and good thing if we could only understand each other better, or truly swap experience. That she's thinking that this is going to be a holy act, or that this is something that God could get down with. And also it makes me think of the kind of like she's looking for a kind of oneness for her and the other to be, in a sense, inseparable, like no difference between them. We feel everything of each other. We know everything of each other. And so that's maybe kind of like a desire for oneness with God. And then I think it's interesting how we'd be running up the road, then the hill. Maybe it's a little more difficult to run up a hill than a road, flat terrain, hill. You guys have uneven hills behind you, right? Climb a mountain. And then running up a building. So this is like, it stretches beyond like the impossible. Like you could actually run up a straight incline if we could only swap each other's places, we could do anything.
Yeah. So what stands out to me about the deal with God is that she's proposing, right? So she's taking his place. She knows, which is an act of arrogance, and that's why I think the devil would maybe be appropriate there. But yeah. But yeah, like I do think she's seeing it as a good thing, right? Like and sacred probably as well. And then yeah, so the running up, right? Like I don't know if that's normal English, because I don't think so, that you don't run up a road, right? Like, so there's a strange wording in these things. But the way I see a road is a path that other people have walked before, and then a hill that's something that you climb, right? Like it's something to overcome, and it's more treacherous than a road, right? Because like you have to find your way, and then a building, that's something that's not natural. Like that's constructed by people. It's a structure. So in that sense, like that even makes me think of the Tower of Babel, right? Like there's this reaching for something with a building. You're trying to achieve something, and so that's kind of analogous to a road, but then constructed by humans.
Yeah, it's like we could take over the world. Mm-hmm. Together.
Oh yeah, I like that. Yeah.
I think that running up hill road building is moving forward. That's what she means. She feels stuck, and that stuck thing hurts. So she was like, if I would exchange places, because when was this song out? In 85 or something? She wanted him to be the man and to make his moves, and he didn't. So she was like, let me swap places, then I would be the man and I would be like moving forward that relationship. So that's what I project on that line. So running up, moving forward as a man. And deal with God, because she does see it as something holy, right? She does see it as something high and definitely shows the commitment. So she chose the guy, but he is meh. So, and apparently a parkour artist or something. I actually thought when running up that building, I thought of a building on a hill, and on the building would be this outside staircase in case of a fire, you know, the metal staircase. So I imagined running up that staircase outside the building, but that's how I translated it. I don't know if it's proper English. No, but
well, that fits, and it's also going up, right? Reaching for the highest.
Running up, yeah, it's basically moving forward. She's like, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. I made a deal with God.
That's interesting, though. Do you think it's almost like it's like, could it be like the man has his idea of like what she wants from a man, what it is to be a man, and she's like, if you could only have my experience, you would get what I think, like, I want you to be like this. You know, like you
Yeah,
think you're being a good man or whatever for me, but it's like, you know,
it's like she cannot explain it to him. She would rather pray to God and swap places. Communication problems, I guess.
for
There is a
sure.
way to explain, like she can just plainly say what she wants, but she can't because she's a woman. She needs a man to come up with all of those, you know, like, again, communication problems. Also, yeah, people should talk more. I guess. Next line, Manuel.
You don't want to hurt me, but see how deep the bullet lies. Unaware, I'm tearing you asunder. Oh, there is thunder in our hearts. So, first line, hurting, don't want to hurt, and that's a hesitation, inaction, impotence. So I think how deep the bullet lies is, I think that's referencing an earlier event where the bullet is still embedded in her, and so that's a scar that hasn't been removed and is therefore still active, and that explains the hesitation. And then I'm tearing you asunder. So now she's talking about herself affecting him subconsciously. So I think I think this is maybe bringing a dichotomy in there, right? So he's seeing what she wants from him, but he's also seeing the wound that is still active, and he tries to respect both, and that's the two parts that he's getting turned asunder into. And then she's, I think the power that is doing the pulling is this passion, this thunder in the heart.
What is asunder?
Apart, split. It's the tearing up of a union.
Yeah, I see it. I agree with that, that it's like there was some earlier wound, the bullet is still there, and she's maybe passive aggressively now, like, you know, or she's unconsciously taking it out on him and tearing him down. And then I guess I felt that implied like conflict that's creating the storm or whatever, the thunder maybe, is like, we know that she wants to heal this wound, or maybe she's even already acting like it's healed. So it's a thing of like, she wants to heal and become even closer, but at the same time, it's like she's still angry, or there's hurt, and then there's, you know, the desire to like put up walls and actually part from each other.
I think what she's saying here, that he doesn't know what he does to her. She knows he doesn't want to hurt her, but he does. And perhaps that's why she wants to swap places. That's why unaware. There is so much hate for the ones we love. And I think she knows that he has affection for her, but he's like clumsy in a way. And she, for that, wants to make him understand how deep the bullet lies of his actions. Perhaps, like, I actually see it in total, like she wants to stay with that guy, She wants to work things out. But the only way she can, if he would be the one who understands her, he would be the one who, changes his actions. So, and for that, she's like fantasizing about swapping bodies. In all, I see that she wants him to take an action and she wants to stay with that guy.
Yeah, and I get the sense that she's picking between two pains, right? Like either it's the wound or it's not having the relationship that she wants. And I think she has made the decision, right? The conviction that she wants the relationship, right? So I think she's willing to suffer the pain in order to have the relationship.
It's interesting. Now I'm wondering if this whole idea of the deal with God is sort of like it's like a cover story for what's really needed is trust. But it's like the only way I could ever trust that you could understand me is if I knew that you actually did understand me because you're actually inside of me. And so instead it's like, well, if only I could know that I could trust you, then I would. But otherwise I have to protect myself. And I feel like that's really the barrier.
What do you guys think about thunder in our hearts, actually?
When I think of thunder, I think of something loud, right? Like, so it's overwhelming. It's tuning out the other noises. And I also think that there's a motivational force behind the thunder, right? Like, so it's pulling. Well, maybe that's the hard part, right? Like it's pulling somewhere, and I think that's towards the relationship, right? Like I think there's something profoundly healing or making them whole, right? Like it's bringing them together, that thunder, because it can block out these negative aspects.
That also makes me think of like maybe the inverse of like I don't know, almost like a PTSD reaction or something. It's like the alarms are going off and it's like, no, I can't trust you. I can't trust this. I can't trust anything. My, heart's telling me to run away, even though I also want to stay or something. And then I think of the storm that the thunder implies, like there's this like conflict or, pulled in different directions at once or something.
Is there so much hate for the ones we love? Oh, tell me we both matter, don't we? It's you and me. It's you and me. You won't be unhappy. So I noticed something interesting. The first line is sung with a choir. So is there so much hate for the ones we love, right? So that's representing the collective speaking in some sense, right? And then it goes back to a personal perspective. So that's a good angle to start from, Ezra.
Love. Yeah, that's interesting that the choir comes in there. It's like it's like she's sermonizing for a second there. And then I see it, when she brings it back to the personal, I see it as bringing it back like the tell me we both matter, don't we? Is like, I guess it's all just like bringing it back to that fundamental conflict of like, we're separate, we're not the same, we can't like become a oneness. And since we both matter, it's like that actually in a way separates us. But then I guess for me, that kind of points back to like what love really is, because it's like that I don't know, there's this definition that I forget who he was quoting, but like Vervaeke's talked about this, where he has this definition of love that's like the painful realization that something other than yourself is real. So this makes me think of that definition of love, of like you really are real and you really are separate, and you know, but we still you know, it's that, I guess it's that pain. There seems to be a pain undercurrent in the song, and like maybe that pain is like that you're separate, that you can't be fully understood, and in a sense then completely safe. Because like I was saying, I think that there's a protection of like, I can't really trust you and let you in because I can't know for sure that you'll understand, or that you'll you know, treat me the way that I want to be treated or something.
I think he's infuriating to her. And she's like, is there so much hate for the ones we love? You drive me nuts, basically. Right. Yeah, that's my projection on that line.
Yeah, I'm having trouble with the hate, because like it's somewhat for me coming from the blue, right? Like, but I guess there's a resentment that she has for not progressing. I think that was nice that you said that, right? Like there's this element of progress that she's yearning for, and maybe that's the source of the hate. And it's interesting that she says we both matter, but she's effectively talking about him afterwards, because it's you won't be unhappy, but I get the sense that she's talking to herself, right? Like, I won't be unhappy. So yeah, it's you and me, and I like this idea of there's this other thing, right? And this other thing has value, and it has right to exist, and you should even cherish that, because that's what makes it special. So yeah, and maybe there's some element of insecurity, right? You won't be unhappy, right? Like you're in the right place still, even though there's hate or something.
I mean, when she says you and me, you won't be unhappy, she's cheerleading somehow. She's trying to motivate him to act. She's like, I promise you won't be unhappy if you act, in a sense. Like she gives the sense of encouragement.
Yeah, I take that line like, trust me. You know, like, you won't be unhappy. Trust me. Like, you'll see if you just, you know. And then and I started to think that line where it's you and me. It occurred to me that could be kind of like it's like almost like calling the guy selfish, like, you know, you're kind of over there going like being about yourself. It's like you, but it's not you, it's you and me. Like, you know, we're supposed to give up, like she wants to give up this separateness and maybe feels like he won't or something. It just occurred to me you could read it that way.
She wants a commitment, basically. And then she's like continuously cheering him up by saying, come on, baby, come on, darling. Let me steal this moment from you. Come on, angel. Come on, come on, come on, darling. Let's exchange the experience. Yeah, like she does want him to understand her. Yeah.
Because the line before, tell me we both matter, don't we? Right. So first of all, it's a question, right? Like, so who's going to answer? Like, I guess it's him, right? And then she's not just saying, tell me don't we both matter, but she's asking for affirmation, right? Like, he needs to affirm it. So I think, yeah, she's feeling that she's missing something there, and she's looking for him to provide it.
I think the "come on, baby, come on, darling" part. What I like about, I really like that on the recording, because it's like a little ironic, and she's like, because it's saying like, "come on, baby, come on, darling," but the way she sings it, it's a little bit like, I don't know, it sounds like a little ominous. And then when we get to that line, "let's exchange the experience," it kind of like goes a little horror movie. And it's like, so there's almost like a little, I see that as like building herself up. It's like, if only like God could give me this power that I could force you to like see my perspective. And there's almost this like forceful thing behind that, like, and then there's a tension because the wording is like begging, please, please. But then it's kind of like this, no, like maybe you won't want to really understand, and I would force you if I could,
It's like Freaky Friday for
Exactly.
us.
Yes, exactly. Like, see how you like it in here.
Yeah, I think this was also sung by the choir, right? So there was this intensity that was being put behind that. But yeah, there's an enticing and steal this moment from you now, right? So there's a couple things going on, right? Like, there's an importance in this current moment, but there's also the non-consent, right? Because stealing implies, and then baby is changed to angel. So after the stealing of the moment or something, there's a transformation that happens. And what I'm kind of missing is, what is she getting out of the exchange, right? Like, because she's trying to impart something upon him, but what is she gonna receive, and like, what is she looking for in getting his experience?
Yeah, like sorry.
She wants him to commit. That's it.
Yeah, I think she's probably not thinking it through. Like, when you get his experience, you might change your tune a little bit. It might be like, oh, right, I'm actually the one pushing you around. Or something.
Yeah.
Although I do think a little bit on that, like, "come on, baby, come on, darling." I do sometimes wonder if that's him, like if she's making fun of him, like if he's one of those guys who's sort of like, he kind of crosses her boundaries and fucks with her, and then he's like, "come on, baby, like, I'm sorry, like, please forgive me," and she's like kind of making fun of him in that moment. Maybe something I've thought of before listening to it.
She will turn into him, and then she will be like, "Come on, baby, come on, darling." It's like, yeah, I see that. Maybe she just wants to be a guy for a second. And he's a representation of a guy who's like, whatever, and stuff.
Yeah, maybe the building that she mentions, running up the building. Maybe it's like, it's like Tower Records or something. It's like some like music building, industry building. And she's like, it's 1985. if I were you, if I had your agency or whatever as a man, like I would be dominating the field of music, but instead I'm
Yeah.
doing this. It's going to take 30 years for this song to become popular.
Hashtag TikTok. We're making that song popular.
I do think that there's definitely an aspect of where she's envisioning herself in the masculine role, and so like maybe that's also what she wants to do with the swap. It's like, okay, like now I'm in the right position to enact the actions that I've been wanting to enact, but for some reason I can't enact.
Yeah, like she feels maybe like he's the barrier to her moving forward. He's like trying to put her in some kind of feminine role. And she's like, no, I'm the dominant one. Let's switch places, you know, and you get in your place.
Thanks God now in 2022, women can take the dominant places. Yeah.
It's interesting that running up the building is swapped out with no problems later in the song. So if we take the perspective that the structure is this man-made thing, and that the man-made thing is replaced with smooth sailing, that's interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big turn in the song when all of a sudden we have this with no problems, because I guess before she says that, I feel like it's all about getting somewhere. It's about like moving forward, about running, moving fast, not being impeded. But then when it's with no problems, that's a very different connotation. It's like a transcendence that's going to happen. This kind of like oneness is going to happen, and it's sort of like everything will be perfect forever or something.
I think she thinks if she would be the guy, she would not have problems. She would know how to manage things. That's it. Like, that's a question on the roles in society of men and women. And that's what this song maybe is about. Yeah.
Well, it could make sense that she, in the feminine role, is able to have this like insight. It's like, I can see that if I switch places with you, I would know what to do. But it's not clear that if he had to switch places with her, that he would know how to play this other role. So maybe it's a kind of accusation. It's like, hey, I feel like I could do the dominant thing better than you. Can you be submissive? Do you know how to do that? Like, could you be good at that? Because that's what I need. I need you to support me so we can run up the hill.
Yeah.
I know a guy who told me that if he were a woman, he would be a wife of a president by now. That's what he thought. Like, I as a guy know how to get places. If I were a woman, I would use my woman charms and I would be like so famous and like achieve the highest role for a woman that he's seen, a wife of a president. It's a legit story. The guy would have been Melania Trump.
That's the end all be all for him.
Yeah.
That's what I could do if I were a woman. That's why you're not. And so thankfully.
So I want to explore this swapping thing a little bit, because first of all, if he's in feeling her feelings, I don't know if he'd know how to act, right? Like I don't think it's obvious that if he get that experience that he he'd know how to relate to it or something like that. So that's one problem. And I also don't believe that she fully knows what she wants, right? Like she might see step one, but then there's a reaction, and then you get all the complications. And I don't know if she's capable of dealing with that complexity, because you might be in a moment be like, oh yeah, like if you'd only do this right now, then everything would be fine. But it's like, are you sure? Like it might be way more complex than you're making it out to be.
That's
She
what
seems-
all guys think.
Well, that's true. Maybe.
I'm
And
sorry
the
for
girl-
projecting.
the girls think like, if I would be a guy, I would like do all of those things because all the doors would be open for me. I suspect the guy in question is a privileged dude. That's why she kind of projects that onto him.
Well, yeah, she definitely seems pretty sure that she's right, like about her perspective on their differences and stuff. And it does call to mind, like if she were to really switch, would she kind of be like, oh, I actually get why you're like this now, you know, and it's kind of unfair what I'm expecting, okay, you know, or something, who knows. I also think it's interesting at the very end of the song, it changes. There's just this little part that's, if I only could, I'd be running up that hill. And so it's like we start with the hill, or the road, the hill, the building. And then at the end, we're just back to the hill, running up the hill.
Mm. And also, he's no longer there. It's all her.
Yeah, I'd be running up that hill. Yeah. So she's really revealing there. We'd be running up the hill with no problems. And then if I only could, I'd be running up the hill.
She just wants to be a guy. That's it. That's the secret of that song.
Oh, now we know what's from popular in the trans culture. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
Well, she
The
was ahead of her
grass
time.
is always greener where we aren't. Yeah.
That is true. So yeah, what did we learn? Like I don't know what to think about it. Yeah, like I want to look back at this aspect, like it doesn't hurt me. That's how it starts, right? So that's a pretty bold statement, right? Like there's an implication that she's okay, but I don't feel like she is. I think it's more complex.
Yeah, and I get confused if she's being ironic, like if she's saying it really doesn't hurt her, if she's saying like, do you think this doesn't hurt me? Like this hurts me, if it's like sarcastic. I find that a little confusing. I think one of the main things I connect to in the song is just that it's a song about this very deep desire for something that is impossible, and then acknowledging its impossibility. It's something that she knows is not possible.
What I learned from that song is that on the first look, it seems like she wants to be with the guy and for the guy to understand her, the commitment. But after the end of our analysis, I understand that this song is about her trying to move forward in life and also in the relationship, but she doesn't see it possible at whatever state of society in 1995. And the only way forward she could imagine is to be a guy in a privileged position, because that's what I think the guy was.
I
Yeah.
think what I learned is that you can't get anywhere without trust in a relationship.
Yeah, and what I learned is that when you think you have a solution, you wanna be careful, right? Like there's always that extra layer that either is gonna pop up when you enact it, or that you haven't thought of yet. And yeah, like that invites you to actually do it, right? Like the trust that you're talking about, like you're only going to find out whether it's you and me if you're going to try out you and me.
Okay, on that excellent note, I would like to thank Ezra and Manuel for analysis of the song. And guys, please check out all the links below on how to find out more about Manuel and Ezra's artistic work. They both have YouTube channels. Please follow them and subscribe. Enjoy the gifts of our sponsor, Free Time. We have plenty of it, and that's why we make it. Bye.
Bye.
I trimmed the unnecessary lyrics.
But some of them were potentially you just thought were too cringe.
Yes, I could not make Ironroot read like 50 times. Come on, baby, come on, angel, come on, darling. She's like, come on, baby. Ew, disgusting.
That happens anytime I hear Kate Bush for me.
Excellent.